I'd like to welcome you back to part 2 of the Armstrong-Williams interview here in the District of Columbia. Now, this president has done something right, hasn't he? Healthcare reform. He's gone further in terms of pushing that along than any president before. And then, you know, you black people are always saying he doesn't have some type of black agenda, and I try to tell you all that he is the president for all people, but he has been pushing HIV and AIDS and making that a priority. He has been speaking to issues such as small businesses having insurance, and in the city of Baltimore, many small businesses are owned by black people. At the same time, there's an onus on local leaders, statewide leaders, to kind of get a glimpse of that vision that he has and fall in line with it. Your thoughts?
It's so wonderful to see that you still hold out hope and struggle to find successors of this president.
Okay, Armstrong.
And where you find hope, I find despair. Because speaking of that health care bill, it is burdensome to small business owners. Not only are they increasing our payroll taxes, not only are they forcing us to take health care, and not only if the employee already has health care, you must do all this documentation to make sure that it suffices according to the president's plan. And then also, what are these business owners going to do if push comes to shove? They will cut back on employers. They will lay people off. In the long run, this health care bill, which doesn't take hold until 2014, is not going to do anything to stimulate the economy. All it's doing is creating a bureaucracy.
What should have been done? Here's your chance to speak to the world audience. What should be done?
Health care should be between the physician and the patient.
People can't afford it.
You cannot discuss health care unless you deal with tort reform. You need to get these lawyers, these pharmaceutical companies, and the insurance companies out of deciding what is the best procedure for the patient.
How do you do that? If you're the president, how do you get this discussion to happen when greed or the love of money is really at the core of that lady not being able to take her son to the doctor for asthma medicine?
An appendectomy in Baltimore should cost the same as an appendectomy in New York. You should not have different prices, and a doctor should not be able to move and build his healthcare practice based on where they get better payout for Medicaid benefits from these patients. It should be across the board. The president, and he's like all politicians, he's no different than the Bushes and the Clintons who occupied the White House. They cater to those that keep them in power. Special interest groups. The insurance companies were not even scratched in this healthcare bill. They got more than they ever asked for. Who suffers? They're forcing physicians out of business, and their lines will be longer than maybe from here to Baltimore, and people trying to get health care. And even dealing with catastrophic health care. That is the one thing that the government could probably deal with, as we see how they dealt with the issue with FEMA, with Katrina. Imagine what health care costs would have been involved had FEMA not been involved. Listen, there is so much that the president can do, but the president is controlled by Pelosi, Harry Reid, and his Democratic Congress. So many of his signatures.
This is really Democrat and Republican, because where I come from, they all are gangsters. That's what I see. The Democrats just do it nicely. The Republicans, they're strictly about money. At least you know what they're about.
You know what?
At the end of the day, in the state of Maryland, we've had the first Republican in 36 years, Bob Early, who's coming back for re-election. He's going to go against O'Malley. But nonetheless, Baltimore City Public Schools, Prince George's County Schools, still the worst in the state of Maryland, the state with one of the best educational systems in the country.
Let me agree with you.
I'm confused.
Let me agree with you. They're all the same. But you didn't ask me about the other politicians. You asked me about President Obama. And now that you're asking me about Republicans and Democrats, they all are the same. That is why this Tea Party movement is so successful and so fierce. Whether it's in Virginia, New Jersey, Massachusetts, or even in Pennsylvania, people realize that they look out for their own self-interest, because you know what? The health care bill that they passed for us does not apply to the president and to Congress. So you're telling me it's good enough for your subjects, but it's not good enough for you as a leader? People are beginning to see the hypocrisy. They're beginning to believe that both parties have sold them out, and they want new leadership until they get it right.
War. You mentioned earlier Afghanistan, Iraq. Why are we there? Is this still about the war on terror? You said that maybe you don't feel any safer today than you did when Bush was president, that people can still sneak things on the airlines and blow them up. What is the real war? And then, mind you, that 9/11 did happen. I still wonder, why did 9/11 happen? How did we not see not one but two planes, and then one in Pennsylvania. Did we ever get answers to that? Did we have to call Michael Moore?
No, you just read the 911 Commission report, and all, as I did, and all the answers are there, and actually the report made sense. You know, it's interesting what you're speaking about now. You know, you cannot blame the president and his administration for someone trying to commit an act of terror on our soil. You do know that they use our very freedoms against us. I mean, I know you've gone in shopping malls and you see so many opportunities for someone to commit a terrorist attack. But I think where many Americans take issue with the president is with his Attorney General Mirandizing their rights. I mean, I think you might agree that if someone is trying to detonate a bomb on an aircraft or trying to detonate a car in Times Square, you should lose your citizenship as an American. You should not be considered a citizen, nor should you be treated as a citizen, especially when you know firsthand that you committed that crime. You should not be trying to build a mosque 2 or 3 minutes away from where the 911 attack took place, because I don't think they would build any Christian church in any of these Islamic countries if Christians were responsible for 9/11 on their soil. It would not happen. We're not saying that all Muslim faith or terrorists, but there's some extremism in this Islamic faith, and they are hell-bent on destroying our way of life. You don't reward them. You set an example for the next one who's willing to try. You're no longer American. We revoke your citizenship, and we kick you out of this country.
We're going to have to do a part 3. We're going to take a pause and finish up with this final segment. We promise. Mr. Armstrong.